Billick and explained to him.
Yeah.
I said, now, if Tom Brady talked to Bruce Arians, and he says, look, I would prefer you not do this, and B.A. did this, then that's going to be a problem. But if they did not have that conversation, well, I don't see what the problem is, because this is who B.A. is. We're not used to a head coach calling out the quarterback publicly. I give you that. Having played with a great quarterback, I'm sure there were conversations behind closed doors that John Elway had with Mike Shanahan and also Dan Reeves, who was my first head coach. I'm sure there were conversations. But Skip, in all my years of playing with John and playing with other, Mike and Dan Reeves never did that publicly. That's what I'm saying. But that's not how B.A. operates. If Brady had a conversation before he signed the line.
I'm saying he did not.
Well, I don't know what you want him to do then, Skip, because that's the way he coaches. That's the way he's Skip, his offense is fun-loving. You're going to have a great time in it. He's going to give you an opportunity to throw the ball down the field and make big-time plays. But he's also going to be hypercritical, not just of his quarterback, of other positions. And having covered the game for 40 years, you know most coaches are critical of other players when they make a mistake. You cover, maybe you covered Tom Landry and the Cowboys, and you know.
Maybe.
You did?
Well, did I?
Okay. So
I wrote a whole book about it.
So you know how Coach Landry was with the other players other than Roger Staubach.
I knew him extremely well.
That's how Dan Reeves was. Dan Reeves was a chip off the old block from Coach Landry.
Okay, so, Tom Landry was Belichick before Belichick.
Yes.
Because in film sessions, he would scrutinize and criticize the quarterback's play to the team in the closed-door team film session.
Well, Dan didn't even do that. There were conversations that he and John would have in a private meeting when they watched film together in Dan's office. So Dan never did that. So that's my only thing, Skip. I agree. If Tom Brady has an agreement that B.A. is not going to publicly do this, and he did this, well, we got a problem. And you could have an even bigger problem. But if there was no conversation, I don't get what the gist is. But I told you, quarterbacks are real sensitive. Who in their feelings?
Here's my point. I have been covering this league back to the early 70s when I covered the Los Angeles Rams right here in L.A.
Well, I knew you covered the Rams. I didn't know you had gone to Dallas doing it.
James Harris was the quarterback of the Rams. Pat Hayden was the quarterback. Ron Jaworski was the quarterback.
Vince Ferragamo?
He came a little later.
Okay.
The point is, in all my years covering this league, I have never, ever heard a head coach publicly not just criticize, but almost ridicule a top 10 quality quarterback. An Elway, a Marino, Favre, and that's why Brett Favre, you just don't do it. It's an unwritten rule. You just don't do it. He's the franchise. It's such a hard position to play. It's hard enough without you piling onto him if he plays poorly. Okay, let's just say, for the sake of argument, that Tom told Bruce Arians before the season started, if I play poorly, go ahead and publicly criticize me. What if they had that mutual understanding? Did he play poorly on Sunday? No.
Yes.
He did not play poorly.
Yes, he did, Skip.
So, as Brett Favre said, Tom's performance was not what we've come to expect from him, but he said, I'll say this, it wasn't far off. Yet Bruce Arians is talking about Tom as if he played poorly. I'm looking for that other quote. Here it is. He said, Tom knew he didn't play very well. It's not what he expects from himself, or do we expect? Okay, let's analyze that statement. Tom Brady, I insist to you, made one terrible choice and throw, and it resulted in a Janoris Jenkins highway robbery pick six that went the other way. He was cluing, he jumped the route, and he took it home. Way to go, advantage, Jackrabbit. After that, I want you to show me how many bad choices he made, because Bruce Arians threw him under the bus right after the game for the throw into what I thought was quarters, and he called cover 2, and he said Mike should have broken off that route and come across his face, stayed underneath the coverage. And instead, after he looked at the game tape, Bruce Arians said on Monday, no doubt Mike made the mistake on that play. He should have continued his route, and Brady threw it up high to a 6'5" wide out who can play like a tight end, and it was not Tom Brady's fault on that first interception. Was that? I guess it was first.
First, that was the first.
Okay, so my point to you is this. Tom Brady threw for 239 yards in this game. According to Pro Football Focus, he had 6 what they call big-time throws. That tied Aaron Rodgers for 6 big-time throws at Minnesota. But here's the hidden stat. 4 times in that game, Tom Brady threw deep balls on which pass interference was called because it was deserved. 4 times they got huge chunk yards. They had chunk plays on pass interference that does not count in the 239. The grand total of those 4 plays on yards gained was 101 yards. So if you add that onto his 239, you have 340 yards passing. And I'm not even counting what could have happened if there had not been a pass interference and Mike Evans or little Scotty Miller had caught the ball cleanly and continued to run with it. He might have had 400 yards passing. That is not a poor performance. So it was not deserved criticism from the head coach. If Tom Brady had stunk it up all day long and they had a mutual understanding, then I'd say, I'm fine with that. He did not stink it up. He made 1 mistake the whole day and made 6 big-time throws, which tied for the lead. And by the way, Pro Football Focus ranked him the 8th best quarterback performance of the Sunday, of the weekend.
You see what you're doing here?
I'm not doing anything. I'm just telling you, that's not a poor performance.
I thought the only stat Tom Brady cared about was winning. But now, in order to keep Tom Brady up in that pantheon of great players, quarterback play right now, we talk about big-time throws. Skip Bayless, if you don't mind me asking, tell the people at home what was Tom Brady's QBR. 35. Is that good? On a scale of 0 to 100, with 50 being average, he was 35.
You know why? You know what kills your QBR? Interception.
Who threw him?
The first one was not his fault, according to Bruce Arians.
So let me get this right. So Pro Football Focus listed those 6 big-time throws. What about those other throws, those bad, poor throws? Were any of those in there? You see what you do, Skip? I can do that all day. If I want to make somebody look good, I can just accentuate the good and never mention the bad. So he had no bad throws?
There was way, way, way more good than bad. I'm sorry. You called it a poor performance, and even Brett Favre said it wasn't far off from the Tom we know and love.
This is what I know about quarterbacks. They always protect their own. So let me get this straight. Did Baker Mayfield play poorly? Because he had a 33 QBR, and Tom Brady had a 35. So how much better did Tom Brady play?
Okay, well, what does that matter?
Well, it matters because...
He threw interceptions. Baker threw interceptions at Baltimore.
And he threw interceptions at New Orleans. Thank you.
And thank you for bringing up New Orleans. You picked who to win the NFC. Help me out. Oh, New Orleans.
Yes.
Will Tom Brady play a tougher game? Will he have a higher degree of difficulty than opening game against division rival on the road with no preseason games, nothing but virtual OTAs, and having never been to battle with most of his receivers except for Gronkowski, and you're playing the best defense you're going to see down the whole schedule on the road in game 1. And you're saying he played poorly?
Let me ask you a question.
Bruce Arians is so out of line, he looks pathetic.
Let me ask you a question. And who did you pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl?
The AFC?
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Exactly. That's who Baker Mayfield played with no preseason on the road in Baltimore.
I'm defending Baker Mayfield.
No, you can't defend the indefensible. He played poorly. Tom Brady played poorly. It's okay. And BA called him out on it.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding.
He actually played very well.
A 35 QBR says no. A 6.4 yard per attempt says no. A pick 6 says no.
Do you realize 4 deep pass interferences? If you counted them in the stats,
Skip, you
what do you think it...
Skip, look. If that was the case,
Did you like those 4 throws?
Skip, if you could count pass interferences, I need an extra 1,000 yards added on to mine and an extra 50, 60 catches.
He threw 6 deep balls that were right on the money. And Shannon Sharp told me he was a noodle arm. Who knew?
So what about those bad throws?
Wow.
How many bad throws did he have?
I saw 2 or 3.
Oh, okay.
One was really bad.